playoffs between Australia and New Zealand, and you can expect emotions to be running high in tonight's all-important match. Now, the Tall Blacks find themselves on the back foot after a patchy and inconsistent performance. They now trail 1-0 in the best-of-3 series. And while 2008 in Beijing is the prize, well, there's more at stake for the Tall Blacks. Careers and reputations are on the line. The Tall Blacks need to front up, they need to put up, and they need to shut the Aussies out. It is game time for Nenad Vucinic and his troops, and it's coming to you live here from Sydney, Australia on Māori television.
In Game 1, the Tall Blacks laid down the challenge to the Australian Boomers. Tonight, there are no second chances for the Tall Blacks. It's do or die in their quest to represent Oceania at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. All the action coming to you live and exclusive on Māori television. Yes, simply put, the Tall Blacks need to win tonight to send the three-match series into a decider on Friday night in Brisbane. Australia already have one hand on a Beijing Olympic berth, but the Tall Blacks are always at their best when their backs are against the wall. Joining me in studio to build up to tip off is former New Zealand Tall Black Fern representative, Tania Tupu. E te tuahina, tēnā koe.
Kia ora.
First of all, Tania, the Tall Blacks go into tonight's game 1-0 down. The pressure is definitely on.
Definitely on. It's not a good position for them to be in, and I'm sure they'll be looking to improve on their performance from previous night.
Yeah,
sorry.
well, losing is one thing, but getting beaten by 12 points in an international game, does that have an effect on the confidence?
Yeah, I don't think it's about the point spread or about 12 points. It's really about how they played the game and how they need to improve the game.
Well, besides the players, first-year head coach for the Tall Blacks, Nenad Vucinic, will he be feeling the pressure?
Absolutely. The pressure's on Nenad, and, you know, he took the job on. You know, it's part of the job to have a bit of pressure there as an international coach, and he'll be looking, or he would have picked apart a lot of the game, and he'll be looking to improve on that.
Well, also, just quickly, Tony Rapton says the guys are against the wall, their backs are against the wall, they play better. What do you think? Well,
I don't know if you play, or you're in a good spot when your back's against the wall, and, you know, it's not good having a loss already. They need to win this game, flat out win.
Ka tika rā. Well, kei te takiwā, tēnei takiwā māua ko Tania, ngā kōrero a ki tērā taha, te moana tā poko a tāwhaki, a Jenny May Coffin rāua ko Jeff Green, mai te Sydney Entertainment Centre, ki Poi Hākena.
Kia ora te here. Well, a 12-point margin in favour of the Boomers was probably quite flattering to the Tall Blacks. I'm joined by Jeff Green, our guest commentator for Māori television. Jeff, have you spoken to the boys? What's the camp, or what's the feeling like in camp?
Well, just before I came over here, Jenny May, I saw Dylan Boucher, and I said to him, look, you know I'm a league fan, Dill. Bring back the biff. That's what we need. Someone needs to get into these Aussies in the first 30 seconds. Unless there's a scrap happening, you know, I might have to come out there myself and help you boys out.
All right, so what went wrong? Nenad Vucinic has come out and said, well, the team lacked composure. Petal Cameron said they wanted it more. Where did it go wrong?
Well, I agree with PC. You know, Captain Courageous, he knows what he's talking about. He felt that his team just wasn't up to it. You know, that they didn't show any mongrel. And I think that's what, and in fact, talking to some of the Australian coaching staff, they said the same thing. They were very surprised that the Kiwis played weak, and a lot of the fouls they gave away were little ticky-tack fouls. So, you know, that's the first thing. We need a bit of mongrel in them.
Now, the turning point came in the bottom of the second period. There was 40 seconds before the end, and we coughed up 2 turnovers, and that's where the momentum changed.
Well, it was 36-all, wasn't it? And then all of a sudden, those turnovers happened. The Tall Blacks go into half-time 7 points down. They never really recovered from that because it was embarrassing, to say the least. They didn't recover. It took them a long, long time. But at the end of the day, Jenny May, I harped on about it in the commentary, and I just think it's all about balanced scorers on the court. You know, the Tall Blacks can't afford to have too many non-scorers on the court at any one time, and I think it's combinations they need to look at.
Oh, let's have a look at some of the statistics from the other night. 18 turnovers for New Zealand to the Boomers 7. There was also the Tall Blacks landed 33% of their three-pointers and just 64% from the free throw line. That's ugly reading.
Oh, it's terrible reading. You know, in international basketball, even when you're playing in the mini ball, kids are at the YMCA, the local YMCA. You can't turn the ball over and expect to win a game 18 times when the opposition is only 7. So that's the first and foremost they've got to fix. And it's shooting percentage, well, that gets back to the fact that the wrong people are touching the ball in the wrong spots. You know, a good example of that was Tony Rampton, our 7-foot centre. You know, he's the only thing that we've got to a real true centre in New Zealand, and he's shooting 3-pointers. It was an air ball. Casey Frank, you know, he's 6'8", shooting jumpers when that's not really his style of game. So that's the key. You know, we've got to get the ball to the right people at the right spots.
All right, in saying that, the Tall Blacks, can they get up and over the Boomers?
Oh, I don't think it's a matter of whether they can or can't. They have to. It's simple as that. They cannot do anything else but win this game. Otherwise, we must all pack up and go home.
Yeah, well, stay with us from Melbourne. We will have much more, including we'll catch up with 2 of the Tall Blacks, Kirk Penny, our top scorer, and also the man of the moment, Paora Winitana.
Nā koe ngā whakaroa Jeff Green e pāna ki te kemu. Tania, we'll get to the Tall Blacks soon. Engari, i te tuatahi kapa Boomers, they definitely got a lot right on Monday night. What impressed you most about their performance?
Defence. The Boomers did a great job on D, pressuring in the full court and executing those half-court traps. This caused a meltdown on the Tall Blacks attack. The Boomers turned up the heat even more after the Tall Blacks didn't adjust to the pressure. This fueled Aussie to get out to lead at the end of the second quarter and inspired them in the third. One thing the Aussies did do well with their gifted possession from the Tall Blacks' mistakes was they converted them to 17 points, and this made a difference in the game.
Well, Tania, it was a pretty typical Boomers performance. Nothing too flashy, but very effective.
Yeah, they played hard-nosed, hardcore defence, and this is pretty normal for Australian style of game. I've played Australia a few times, and you know it's quite common that they're going to be up in your face, and expect that again in tonight's game.
And the starters really stepped up.
The starters definitely stepped up. They're all experienced players, and you know there was a nice even spread in scoring and leadership from Sam McKinnon.
Well, in shooting percentage-wise, I mean, it wasn't that crash shot for the Boomers, but it just goes to show how many more shots they managed to get off.
Well, the turnovers certainly showed that. 20 points, 20 more attempts at goal the Boomers had, and that was directly caused by the Tall Blacks turnovers.
Ai, ka tika rā koe nā te take I wiki tore te kapa Boomers, but one of the major talking points from Game 1 actually happened before tip-off when young Australian R&B singer Skylar Halstead got a case of stage fright and forgot the words to the Māori version of the New Zealand national anthem twice. Well, like a knight in a black singlet, Tall Blacks guard Paora Winitana leaped to the rescue, and here's Jay Mate with the man himself.
Well, we all know how disappointing the national anthem was on Monday night, and one guy who was fired up about it was Paora Winitana. Paora, it must have been difficult for you and the team to stand there and listen to what was going on.
Yeah, it was pretty unfortunate. I mean, you think they'll prepare well for something as special as that, but they didn't, and she wasn't a bad singer. She could sing, she just didn't know the words, and yeah, you got to feel for someone in that situation.
What were you thinking when you approached her?
I honestly didn't know what I was thinking. I was just going out, it looked like her sister was in need of help, so I went up to tautoko her, support her, and yeah, I just kind of asked her, "Are you okay, you alright?" and just try to offer her in some sort of way, and obviously it helped out a little bit.
Were you going to sing?
I kind of in the back of my mind I was thinking I'll probably have to sing alongside her. You know, she kind of handed me the mic and I was like, yeah, I'll sing with you, and hopefully you can hear my voice if you get stuck. And she got stuck a little bit of there in the second time, but she picked it up and yeah, it kind of worked out okay, I guess.
You know, it's always tough coming up against Australia. It's always one of those grudge matches. There's such a rivalry between the two countries. Having that in the back of your mind, also the fact that the national anthem wasn't going so right, must have been quite draining.
No, not really. I mean, shucks, you know, that didn't go down too well. Haka went all right, put us back on track, and for the first half, yeah, we did pretty good. I mean, as we all know, it's kind of like rugby, you know, you got to play 2 halves. Same thing with basketball, you got to play 4 quarters, and we kind of, you know, they dominated us in the second half, and that was the result really for them.
You didn't get any minutes on Monday night.
No.
Are you hoping to or expecting to tonight?
Yeah, I mean, shucks, it's been a tough tour, you know. I got an injury, picked up a little bit of an injury in the groin earlier in the tour against Venezuela, and from then on it's been pretty tough. I mean, after warm-ups, once you're warm, I mean, if I get an opportunity, you just got to be ready at all times, you know. Team sport, that's the way it is, and yeah, shucks, our back's against the wall, but we tend to play better in those situations as a team, you know, the Tall Blacks, and we'll be looking for a good result tonight.
What does Nenad want from you guys? What has the talk been in camp the last couple of days?
Oh, the last couple of days is just, well, you know, it's do or die, you know, our Olympic dreams and maybe even the silver ferns on the line for us. And so there's going to be a lot of aggression tonight. You know, we're going to come out, we're going to be pretty much assertive from the get-go, and it's going to be a bit of a battle. It's going to be a war, so it's going to be exciting.
Paora, thanks for your time and all the best tonight.
Hey, bring your guitar, okay? I heard you might be the backup plan for the national anthem. You and Bailey. Kia ora.
Kia ora anō, ko te ara hi mai pia hau, ko tō mātou māngai mō tēnei pō, ko Tānia tupu, he kai tākaro o te kapa tall ferns I ngā tau. Koe nei te tukinga tuarua o ngā kēmu e toru, he whakataetai me Wikitoria e te kapa Tall Blacks. But Tānia, there is still a lifeline for the Tall Blacks if they don't get up for this one.
Yeah, it's the repechage tournament over in Europe, and you know we don't want to be thinking about that right now. But you know, 9 out of 12 teams would already be invited to the you know, after these tournaments will be getting an invite to the Olympic Games, and you know it leaves 3 spots left, and you know it's going to be extremely hard going against European teams at World Olympic qualifiers.
Exactly right. We don't want to be thinking about that. So let's think about tonight. The scenario for Game 2. What do the Tall Blacks need to do in order to win this game?
Oh, definitely have to step up on defence.
Yep.
And you know, attack it. We need to attack that half court and full court pressure, and you know, initiate the offence a lot better.
Well, just in regards to that, I mean, turnovers. Was that the main reason for the Tall Blacks' demise?
Definitely, 18 turnovers equaled 18, you know, opportunities for the Australians, and we need to take better control of the ball, and you know, do a better job getting the ball to our shooters.
In terms of the type of basketball we're used to seeing of the Tall Blacks, that hustle, that real aggressive type of play, we didn't really see that on Monday night. What do you put that down to?
Well, we would really like to see Dylan out there leading the way and hustling. We need to really stay out of foul trouble, and you know, there's nothing worse than sitting on the bench, but sitting on the bench with fouls is not a good look, and we need key players like Belcher and Cameron and Casey Frank and Paulie out there playing and not in foul trouble.
Ai, ka tika rā. So let's summarise the Tall Blacks' keys to victory.
Turnovers. The Tall Blacks have to do a better job taking care of the ball, keep turnovers to single digits to gain more opportunities. The Tall Blacks will have to attack the pressure D, show composure and confidence consistently throughout the game as Australia apply their pressure. Sitting on the bench is definitely no fun, we mentioned that, and especially if you're in foul trouble, but you know, the big key players have got to step up.
Okay, now kuira te mahere, kuira ngā whakatau o Tānia. One other thing, the Tall Blacks will also need to come out strong after the break.
Definitely, but they need to come out strong in the first half as well, and they did a good job playing, you know, 1.5 quarters last night, and they started the game reasonably well, so they need to start the game well, and then they need to start the second half well too.
Nā ka tika rā. Well, we're just over 15 minutes off tip-off in Game 2 in a must-win match for the Tall Blacks. What does Australian basketball legend make of this game? He's played it at almost every level. Australian NBL, the NBA, 4 Olympics, 1 World Championship with over 150 test caps for the Boomers. Here's Jeremy Coffin with Shane Hill.
I'm joined by Shane the Hammer Heel, who was a former Boomers point guard and feared and respected around the world. And I'm not going to say how old you are, but you've been to 4 Olympics.
Yeah, 4 Olympics, that does mean that I'm old, and right now I'm feeling it as I walked up those stairs.
Now, you're a player coach for the South Dragons. How's that going for you?
It's been great. We had a really good season last year and made the playoffs in our first season, so we recruited a really young team this year, so hopefully we can go a little bit further and over the next couple of years create a nucleus of a team that will be really good in Melbourne.
All right, let's talk about the game that's on tonight, Boomers. I guess the writing's on the wall a little bit for the Tall Blacks with Brian Goorjian coming out and saying, hey, our team can get a lot better.
Well, I think they can get better, but New Zealand certainly has more upside. But, you need to see a little bit more passion than what they showed on Monday. I was really disappointed with the way they came out. They looked like they were a bit jet-lagged and caught by surprise by the Boomers' defence, and they shouldn't have been because they know it's going to be pretty hard.
The Tall Blacks, what do they need to be able to take down this Boomers side? Put your other hat on, just for the moment.
Yeah, they need to be able to hit shots. They struggle to score. I think they need to play Kirk Penny as much as they possibly can. He's a legitimate scorer around the world, and they need to be able to get him shots. I thought they had the wrong people in at the wrong time and the wrong people taking shots. So, without putting the ball in the hole, you're not going to win too many games.
Now, David Anderson, he was the top scorer for the Boomers, but the player for me who I thought injected a bit of spark into the side was young Paddy Mills.
How exciting is he? He really is fantastic, and 19 years of age, and it's really good for Australian basketball to have somebody like him, but also Andrew Bogart, Joe Ingles, Brad Newley, all young guys that are really going to take the Boomers into the next generation.
Do you think Brian is going to change much from game one to the game tonight?
I don't think he'll make too many adjustments, but I think New Zealand really have to step up and make the biggest adjustments. But should be a great game. Looking forward to a lot of passion.
Shane, appreciate your time. Have a good call.
My pleasure.
Well, I'm sure if Shane Hill was playing tonight, the Tall Blacks would be paying him pretty close attention. But Tanya, who from you impressed you in game one?
Well, first up it would be David Anderson, a world-class player who had a solid performance in game one. He's got a nice mid-range jumper, and his presence inside the paint is a key. Patrick Mills, 18-year-old, he showed he's ready for the big time, explosive, quick handles. He sparked a 9-0 run for the Boomers in the first half.
And Patrick Mills, there we go. See, this bright spark, 18 years old, we talked about him before, fantastic talent, came on, got 17 minutes in game one. Again, the type of talent that we're seeing from the Australian, the depth within their basketball system, it's fantastic to see.
Yeah, well, Patrick Mills, he looked like an Olympic sprinter out there, and he got his chance because Darnell Mee picked up 2 early fouls, and that was his opportunity to get out there and show his stuff.
And also, Big Dave Taylor was creating all kinds of havoc down there in the low post.
Yeah, David Anderson, sorry.
David Anderson, sorry.
Yeah, he's got a inside presence, and he's also got a nice little mid-range jumper. But remember that he did really well when PC was off the court. So if PC wasn't in foul trouble, maybe he might be the key to stopping David Anderson tonight.
And the quiet achiever, I guess, from game one. But if you look at the stats, Sam McKinnon, their big captain, and he had a fantastic game.
Yeah, he was the most influential player on the court, captain, leader, and he's been to 2 Olympic Games, so he knows how to get back to one. And look to him for experience again in leading the way for the Boomers tonight.
Just looking at their team again, you've talked to us a little bit about it, is the balance they have right across the park. It's a very, very good team.
Yeah, well, they're a tough squad, and, Brian Goorjian's obviously happy with the situation they're in at the moment. All the players can contribute, and I'm sure any of those players that are sitting on the bench would probably come in and do quite well as well.
And we were just talking about, back in game one, the exclusion of the 4 big names from the Australian team. It didn't even look as though, that they were missed.
No, but that's the strong pool of players, and, the development of basketball in Australia. They've got any big-time player they can go to, and if they had those key players, it might have made a difference, it might not have. We're just hoping that the Tall Blacks tonight can come through.
Tautoko, kōrero, kei te whakatata mai te tīmatanga o te tukinga tuarua ki wainga i te kapa Tall Blacks me te kapa Boomers, kia whai tūranga i ngā whakataetai o te ao ki Beijing, nō reira e te iwi, kia mautonu mai.
Monday night, top scoring with 20 points. Kirk, there's a lot of pressure on the Tall Blacks to even up the series tonight.
Yeah, and rightly so. I think we've got to bring it tonight. Our backs are against the wall. We're playing for the Olympics, and in the first game, we may not have had the heart that we need to come out and win. That real intensity and that mongrel that we have to play with for us to be successful.
Too many mistakes and not making the most of opportunities, would that be the story?
Yep, too many mistakes for sure. We turned it over way too many times and gave them easy baskets, especially a stretch in the end of the first half where they got points that we had worked hard to have at the other end, and that's just not how we can play to win.
Shoot around this morning, what's been the focus?
I think we just need to cover the pressure they're putting on us and know how to counter that. But you know, we just need to. I think we need to play at a whole other intensity level, and that's just something that has to come at game time. And right now, it's just being sharp and going through what we need to do to play well tonight. At the offensive end, they are pressuring us, and we need to make sure that we stay in our sets or play in a way that doesn't get us out of our system.
There was one aspect of the game, the full court press, that really troubled you guys. I think 3 times during the game we didn't get the shot away as the shot clock counted down. Is that something that you guys have been talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they are putting us out of our stuff, and we can't have that. You know, we're going to have to make sure that we punish them. If they're going to put 2 guys in the front court on our point guards, we've got a 4-on-3 situation every time, and we can't just dribble up and hold it up and wait for a point guard to come back. We just have to go at them. And I think there's a chance they might even zone tonight a lot, and that's something where we need to counter that as well.
You got 31 minutes on Monday night. You know, when you're feeling hot, when the shots are going up, do you want more game time?
Oh, you know, that's not something I worry about. Every minute I'm on the court, I want to be playing as hard and as well as I can. And if I'm not on the court, you know, I ought to be cheering as hard as I can as well. And that's irrelevant to me. All I want is for us all to be out there and giving our all every step of the way. So when we leave that game tonight, we've left it all on the court, and we can be proud of our efforts.
Just finally and quickly, Tall Blacks, can you get up tonight?
Can we get up tonight? Hell yeah, we have to. We can't now. Shouldn't be playing the game.
Cheers, appreciate your time, Kirk.
Welcome, guys.
Kirk Penny, the Tall Blacks' top point scorer from Monday night with 20, there with Jenny May Coffin. Now, Tanya, he's simply just got to go out there and have another performance just like that, isn't
Yeah,
he?
Kirk's got to bring his game tonight, and you know, expect more pennies to drop for Kirk as he continues to carry the load for the Tall Blacks. Next up, we have Mark Dickel. He'll be hating the hardcore fact that he had 6 turnovers. Look to see him step up his game as he's the key at getting the ball to our scorers. Pero Cameron, big PC. He's shown in the past he could step up in big games, a big part of the Tall Blacks team chemistry. He needs to stay on the court and stay out of foul trouble.
Well, Tanya, ka tika hoki o whakaro. Kirk Penny, the only player within the Tall Blacks to throw up more than 10 shots in the game. We need more from our top-line players. Yeah,
definitely. We need to get the ball to our scorers, people like Phil Jones. We need to get the ball in his hand because he can light it up just as well as Kirk Penny.
Well, that player in particular, Phil Jones, 75% of the shots he hit, which is a fantastic stat if you're a number cruncher, but the problem was he only threw up 4.
Yeah, and you know, there was a real struggle getting the right players the ball at the right times. And Phil Jones, you know, if he gets the ball in the right place, he's going to light it up, like I said.
Now, we've talked about the Tall Blacks' offensive wise, what they need to concentrate on that end of the court, but equally at the other end of the court, at the defensive side, when you consider that they didn't get 1 steal throughout the whole match.
Well, you know, that's a bit of a concern when you're not getting hands to balls with steals and through other stats like that. But, you know, I think it comes down to, you know, making sure that they're focused on what they have to do in the moment, and, you know, that's to play every second of the game intensely.
Now, going back to the Australian, Big David Anderson, the centre for the Australian, he was causing a lot of havoc in the sense that he was drawing a lot of fouls. What do you think the New Zealanders need to do in order to kind of take care of him a little bit better down low?
Well, just harass him and, you know, give him a little argy-bargy, I guess, get PC on him and, you know, rev him up a little bit so that he's taken off his game and, you know, take away what he's good at.
One thing that also Jeff Green said too, well, I think New Zealand got up 27 3-point shots, but a lot of them were from guys who weren't, you know, our 3-point specialists. How is it best that we can get the ball to our top scorers in better position?
I think that's just executing, and, you know, this is what Nenad probably would have been talking about or working on in practice, is making sure that they execute their plays and getting the ball rotated. You know, they didn't have enough time to get a lot of good options away. You know, they had to take their first choice because the time or the shot clock was running out, and, you know, it comes down to that sometimes.
Ka tika rā o whakaro. Nā koera o tāua whakaro e Tanya, engari he hanga whakaro a Jenny May rāua ko Jeff Green.
Jeff, as a coach, Nenad Vucinic has had 6 weeks with this team. He's brought in some complicated systems. Do you stay with those systems or do you go back to basics?
He's got no choice. it's his system. He has to stay with it. The Tall Blacks can't afford to change things in 2 days. At the end of the day, they've got a system, and it worked fairly well in Europe. From all accounts, from the team, from the coaching staff, there's nothing wrong. It was just bad things that happened to us on first game nerves, maybe. So, they've got to stick with it, and I'm sure they will.
One thing they did struggle with was the full court press.
Yeah, that was a real surprise, even to us in the commentary position, because at the end of the day, the Aussies play very tough, gritty defence, but it's always in the half court and never extended like it was. So that was a surprise. I don't think the Tall Blacks will concentrate too much on the fact that they're going to full court press, because their problems weren't getting the ball up the court. It was once it was up the court. So I think that's more of a red herring from my point of view.
Reflecting on game one, who are the players that you want to see stand up?
Well, I think the people that we need to really concentrate on is young Craig Bradshaw, and I know he's only a youngster and we can't afford to put too much pressure on him early on in his international career. But, he's got to step up, because he rebounded the ball very, very well. People forget that, defensively he did a great job, and he did good board work. But I think Phil Jones, if he can score a few more, that'll help the cause. But it was only 12 points. Look at the number of layups they missed also. So it's all about getting that balance and that sort of thing. So I don't think anyone needs to step up per se. I just think we need to cut down on the turnovers and get more balanced attack. We'll be right.
I'll tell you one person I enjoyed seeing out on court, and that was Mark Sparky Dickel. Although you got to say, he was blown by the end of it. Oh,
he was absolutely knackered, as they say. I wouldn't like to repeat what he actually said, but he's that sort of guy. He's such energy. He uses so much energy on the court, and that's his problem. And I think we saw a couple of times, and you didn't see it on camera, but a couple of times he put his hand up for a sub really early on, and he sort of wobbled to the bench rather than walk to the bench. So very tired, but he's been out with that back surgery. He's just getting back into it. Unfortunate for the Tall Blacks, but he's a competitor, and he'll give it his all for New Zealand.
Well, as we heard Paola Winitana talking about the national anthem, look, he felt sorry for the young girl in game one. The national anthem tonight, look, we hope it's not as disastrous.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jenny, mate, this is what's going to happen. If the national anthem isn't done right, I'm going to go out there with a guitar. I'm going to at least try and help, because it's a blonde girl doing the national anthem today. I'm not sure about that. It was a Samoan girl in the... Oh, OK, my fault.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. You stick to what you know, which is commentary. Appreciate your time. Stay with us as we count down towards Game 2 of the Oceania Olympic qualifying series between the Tall Blacks and the Boomers.
Ka tika rā, Jenny, mate, tautoko anō kōrero waihoa Jeff Green ki te taha kau, e whati te rakuraku ki aia. Engari, very, very quickly, before we head back off to Sydney, game time, what do you think Ned Vucinic would have told the boys?
Well, this is it. This is their only chance to have a shot at going to the Olympics. And, he's not relying on just one or two players like Kirk Penny. He's relying on all his senior players to step up, and he's relying on, results and featured 5, 6, 7, 8 players contributing.
Ka tika rā. The 2007 FIBA Oceania Championships, Game 2 of 3 for the right to automatically qualify for the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Tip-off from Sydney Entertainment Centre is right after the break. Kia ora no e te iwi hoki mai anō kia whakaata Māori. Just before we head off to Sydney, Tanya, team tactics, game tactics from Nene Vucinic. What would he have told the boys before they head out there?
Well, it'd be interesting to see what their training was like yesterday, because I can imagine Nene going over every little detail about the game the night before. But I think, he'll be looking for execution.
Ka tika rā, nō reira e te iwi kia whakawhiti atu tātou ki o a mātou māngai mō tēnei Paula Phil Lynch, rātou ko Shane Hill, ko Jeff Green.
E hoa atua o ngā iwi matora hata whakarongo ngā me aroharoa kia hua ko te pai kia toto atawhai mana akitia mai hao te aroa. God of nations, at thy feet, in the bonds of love we meet. Hear our voices, we entreat. God, defend our free land. God, Pacific's triple star, from the shafts of strife and war, make them praises heard afar. God, defend New Zealand.
Beautifully done, Rita Dunn, Jeff. A few people holding their breath after what happened the other night.
Well, I had my guitar ready to go. I was going to rush out there with Paula Winitana if it went wrong, but that was nice.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing. Advance Australia fair.
Yeah. We've got to do something about basketball crowds getting into the national anthems. I mean, you go to the football and people sing along, but not too much of the basketball, Shane.
No, they certainly don't, but you would have to say that's a better start to the night for the Kiwis, wouldn't you? At least on
Here's the starting five for the Boomers, and it looks like we're starting exactly the same way as they did in game one.
Yeah, and I think you would expect that. Darnell Mee, he'll be looking for a big night tonight. Jason Smith as well. Didn't get too much action as far as getting the shot the other night. Glenn Saville, Sam McKinnon, and Dave Anderson in the middle.
Variation on the haka, not the old kamate haka that people have been used to.
This is one that was specifically written for the Tall Blacks, and it's great. It entails things of basketball and the sort of things you need. The starting five, as we said, it wasn't going to change from the Tall Blacks. It'll be a different sort of game plan, but the starting five is going to be the same. Mark Dickel at the one, Kirk Penny at the shooting guard, Dylan Boucher at the small forward, Big Pero Cameron at the power forward, and of course Craig Bradshaw at centre.
It's the little things in basketball that can change things so much. We mentioned in the opener about Dylan Boucher getting those couple of early fouls. Nenad Vucinic there has decided to go with him again. It just changed the tone right up and took him away from the defensive things he wanted to do.
Yeah, and it also, not only Dylan Boucher, but Big Pero Cameron, he also got in a bit of foul trouble, and the game definitely changed when those two guys were out of the defensive set for New Zealand. And you know, the other guys just didn't step up defensively. And for the Tall Blacks to do well against the Boomers, they not only had to play well in terms of offense, but they've got to play great defense.
Well, as we watch the Tall Blacks warm up and trying to get this game done here tonight, let's take a few thoughts from the players and coaches after game one.
We got a really poor third quarter, gave them confidence, and we lost that last third quarter by 7 points. And that was a lead that against the home team and quality team like Australia, you're not going to get back.
For all of us, we got to do a better job, man. I mean, they did a great job. They pressured us. They took us out of our offense. But at the same time, I mean, we just didn't look comfortable. Didn't feel comfortable out there.
I think we can definitely improve. Defensively, we tried to sort of make them adjust to us. So I think momentum for us is key right now. We wanted to win this first one, and we want to wrap the series up in Sydney.
And I think you got to prepare for the fact that it's 3 games, and you know, if you have a position where you can go for the kill, you'd go for the kill.
Yes, they'll certainly want to go for the kill tonight, Shane. 3 games, it is important because, I mean, Tall Blacks win tonight, we're back to square one.
Certainly are, and when you're playing a 3-game series, it's all about adjustments. New Zealand have to be able to make that, and for me, it's all about the offensive end for New Zealand. They look very uncomfortable when they're not putting the ball in the hoop, and then they're running down their throats with the Australians, and just don't have the athleticism to be able to run with the Aussies.
Of course, if New Zealand win tonight, they're the team that goes into Brisbane on Friday night with momentum. No
doubt, and they will feel, if they can win tonight, like there's nothing to lose on Friday night, because they'll feel like they've come from behind, and you know, it'd be great for basketball in New Zealand and Australia to play a game that didn't mean anything on Friday night. It'll be a good one, so fingers crossed, but you know, my money's on the Aussies. I think they're going to be too good.
Well, if we go back in history with these teams, just in recent history, last year it was 2 games all in the Resi Mortgage Series between these 2 teams. Just before that, they played the Commonwealth Games final down at Vodafone Arena where we were on Monday night, and it was just 2 baskets in the last 30 seconds from Jason Smith that was the difference in that game. So this series has been so tight between these 2 teams for the last 12 months or so.
Well, from a New Zealand point of view, Phil, you've just got to discount game 1. And for New Zealand, it's a 2-test series right now, because if they lose tonight, there's no point in playing the 3rd. Having said that, I think the Kiwis got ready.
Our referees from New Zealand, Andy Thackeray, from Australia, Vaughan Mabry, and a visiting referee, the man on screen there, is Raimuldis Brazauskas from Lithuania.
I must say, just looking at the players' faces, there's a visible change all over the Kiwis. Look, they did look lethargic in game 1 when they came out, and there's a little bit of intensity in their face now.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Strap yourself in for game 2, because I get the feeling this is going to be something quite different from what we saw the other night.
Well, you saw it right there, Phil. Sorry, you saw it right there. Para Cameron and Sam McKinnon, the 2 captains, gave each other a little nudge.
David Anderson winning the tip, and it goes to Sam McKinnon. Darnell Mead, the starting point guard, 37-year-old, making his debut series here for Australia, and we hope he can play for a couple of years yet. He certainly will. He's fit enough. That's him with the ball now, and he's drawn a foul that has come from Dylan Boucher. So there's a bit of a sameness about that. What a start.
It certainly is. Dylan has to be able to give Darnell a little bit more space. You see him there. He's got a hand on his hip. That's a foul automatically.
Firstly invited the referee to call that foul, but it happened away from the basket, so Australia will take the ball from the side. But no doubt, if Darnell Mead can get the ball in his hands again with Dylan Boucher up against him, he'll go at him again. But this is Jason Smith. What a start for the Boomers.
Great drive. That's the sort of aggression that the Australian Boomers needs Jason Smith to have when he attacks the basket.
Have a look at it again. Just put on the afterburners and absolutely exploded to the basket, Jason Smith. And they're up the floor on defense and really trying to push it up in the 3-quarter court. Put some pressure on the ball handlers, and Boucher it is who has to bring it out of the backcourt. Just disrupts their defense, their offense just a little bit. Now Dickel looking low to Boucher, but they go high to Penny. Anderson caught out there on Penny. That's a mismatch. And we've got a foul on the play. That's Jason Smith's foul that happened off the ball, but no doubt they'd like to isolate like this, find Kirk Penny up against David Anderson.
One of the things that the Kiwis did good in game 1 was the fact that they took the ball to the rack very strong, and they had positive results.
Well, both teams have started out offense on their minds. Is Mark Dickel handling the ball now against Darnell Mead. These little matchups are so critical. It's just 5 individual battles going on the floor at any one time to try and develop a break in this game. Cameron with 3, and it falls out for the big New Zealand captain. Rebound to Jason Smith, sets the Boomers off again. The Aussie Post Boomers Sam McKinnon had a great start to the series in game 1 and dropped it into the feet there of David Anderson, who just wasn't ready for it, not able to control the ball. It was a good pass.
That's still a good sign for Australia. You want to see Sam McKinnon with an aggression to the basket, and if he does that, good things will happen.
Double teaming the ball handler on the backcourt to get it out of Penny's hands, but it goes back to him. Nice handoff there to Bradshaw for 2, and the Tall Blacks open their scoring at 2 points apiece.
That's the aggressive nature we want from the Tall Blacks. If you're a Tall Black fan, everything going to the basket.
Then Saville just can't make that one as he backed away from the basket under a little bit of defensive pressure from Dylan Boucher. So very even start to this game right now. He's trying to establish some sort of a superiority early. Boucher to Penny. Dickel going in low to Bradshaw to work against Anderson. Anderson had the better of him in the game 1 and then stopped him that time. Forced them into the long bomb on the end of the 24-second clock, and there's a good defensive play there from the Boomers. McKinnon lost the ball there momentarily, but was able to grab it and get it out to Smith for 3. What a start for Jason Smith.
All 5 points. Playing in his home stadium here for the Sydney Kings. He'll be certainly pumped.
And also 2 fouls for him too, because that's his second, and that could be a problem right there. As
here's a nice offensive aggression that we were talking about. Kirk Penny down the lane, dished off, nice one.
And there's the crossover dribble from Mark Dickel that got Jason Smith into trouble, and 2 fouls on him is not what Brian Goorjian wants to see, but he's leading him in there at the moment. There's no sign of a substitution coming from the bench for him. Cameron now. Penny takes it inside the defence, and a foul, a reach-in foul from McKinnon. There's some aggression from this Tall Blacks team tonight. They're taking the ball to the basket hard.
Well, that's what they needed to do, and they started off like that in game 1 anyway. That, you know, being very positive, going to the basket, everything happening going to the basket, and then they faded away from that. Good signs.
3 team fouls already to Australia, so it's a positive sign for New Zealand, but Kirk Penny, who, as we've said before, is one of the best shooters in the world. I think he missed 2 or 3 on Monday night as well from the charity stripe. He can't afford to do that.
Well, gets 1 of 2. And the lead belongs to Australia at 5 points to 3. All 5 points coming from Jason Smith, the man with the hands on the ball right now. McKinnon, great pass on the inside to David Anderson.
Great high-low from Sam McKinnon. Good flash and way to get him the ball early.
That's the way you want your 4 and your 5 to play. Dylan Boucher doesn't take a lot of shots, but generally takes a pretty good one. Now Saville looking to go right back at Boucher, but hands off, gets the ball back and looking for the return pass, but Cameron was in there with the good hands. Now Anderson backing it in down low, dumps it outside to Saville with a bit of a loose pass, but finally into the hands of Glenn Saville for 2. 4-point game. The Boomers off to a good start. Dylan Boucher finding himself with some ball handling duties as Australia getting it out of the hands of Dickel early in the offensive set. A hand on the ball there from Anderson, put that down for a block, but grabbed by Boucher. 3-point shot, is it? No, and a foul this time that comes from Glenn Saville, and it'll be Pero Cameron to shoot a pair.
I think he'd be shooting 3. He was well outside.
I think he had his right foot inside. But there's Anderson, but well, if we see the foul, have a look, then puts his foot over the line and then takes the shot. So it's a two free throws.
It's a veteran play, isn't it? You know, there was a 3-on-1, 3 Australians standing under the basket, so it wouldn't have been a great shot for Pero Cameron. Most likely he was going to throw it back out, but really sucked Glenn Saville in to get to the charity stripe.
Jason Smith, they're having a good long word to Andy Thackeray, the New Zealand referee, because Jason Smith, those couple of early fouls, may be looking for some kind of an explanation on the way Andy Thackeray's interpreted that, but he's not going to change it. Not good off the free throw line early, the Tall Blacks. 1 of 2 to Pero Cameron, who's generally very reliable from there. So 3-point ball game. No sign of a sub from either team yet. Been playing almost 4 minutes. Saville turns it against Boucher. Always tough to get a shot off against him. Now Anderson to work against Cameron. Likes the size there. And David Anderson, he's really got that turnaround jumper working well, Shane.
Particularly over his left shoulder. Every time he gets in the block, he wants to go on his right hand over his left shoulder. Great shot.
Now Cameron at the other end, and great pass off to Dylan Boucher, but just put enough pressure on the layup to force him out of it. Glenn Saville looking to use the speed. Oh, the pass into Anderson was a superb pass and drew the foul out of Craig Bradshaw, so they're really looking for Anderson down low.
Glenn Saville's been really solid over the last 2 games, hasn't he? You see him bring the ball up the floor there, and that's the athleticism and quickness he's got, and a real touch pass to be able to find Anderson underneath.
David Anderson, who led the Australian scorers with 20 the other night. And Darnell Mee is the first sub to go out. Brings Brad Newley into the game.
Of course, Patrick Mills, the afterburners have just been turned on. He's also come into the game.
Yes, well, Jason Smith's gone out. That's who Brad Newley's in for. And, of course, Mills in for Darnell Mee. So, see Mills handle the ball, but right now we're watching David Anderson trying to extend this lead to 7. There's
a real buzz around, too, about Paddy Mills. I mean, he's got so much talent. You can just feel it as soon as he comes on the court. Great for Australian basketball.
And Phil Jones coming in for the Tall Blacks. Down low to Craig Bradshaw. There was a bit of a mess up of assignments there on the Boomers defence.
But put that down, Phil, to the Pero Cameron again pass. You know, the assist of the big man.
Now Jones to do the job on Glenn Saville there and draws the foul as Saville exploded off the floor.
Look at this is what the big man can do from New Zealand. You know, no look pass inside to his other big, finish with the dunk.
They've got to find plenty more of that, but they're facing a 5-point deficit at the moment as Glenn Saville it is who goes to the free throw line. Glenn Saville, who's switched clubs after a long time, Shane, been with the Illawarra Hawks all his life and now off to the Sydney Kings.
Yeah, coming to the opposition. Big move for Sav, I think 13 years down at the Gong, so it'll be a good opportunity for him to play under Brian Goorjian, and I think he'll certainly further his career but improve as a player on a daily basis.
Well, he's been a great player for a long, long time, tremendous athlete, and Brian Goorjian will be happy to have him with the Sydney Kings, but he's also happy to have him with the Australia Post Boomers at the moment, doing a very good job with a 6-point lead. Jones for a long 3, and Phil Jones, who can certainly shoot from that range, not making his opening salvo. That man Saville again, the screen from Anderson, looked for the roll but didn't need him, took the shot himself and just couldn't get it to drop. Did everything but drop. Pat Mills there getting in the way of Penny, Bradshaw, and find the big hand or the big frame of David Anderson in front of him. It was just too hard to make a shot. Here's Mills getting it up there quickly. What a start.
What a first step. That's all I could see. He just blew past Sparky Dickel.
What first step? I didn't see it.
Oh. Nobody in the building saw it. Patrick Mills. He is quick. 8-point lead here to the Australian Boomers. The first timeout's been called by coach Nenad Vucinic of the Dominion Finance Tall Blacks. Here's Mills. Where did he go? Straight to the hoop. Mark Dickel. Great start. He missed his first couple of shots when he came in the opening game in Melbourne the other night and finished off the game strongly, but have a look at the smile on that face. He loves it.
I've seen Patrick Mills play at age group championships a lot.
Let's see what Glenn Saville had to say after the game on Monday night.
They really don't want to give up game 2 for us to take the series. And having played in those situations before, having won game 1, I know that game 2 is an extremely important game.
Absolutely, and Glenn Saville is playing like he really means it. Not that he doesn't do that in every game that he plays, but he's made a terrific start. He and Sam McKinnon had tremendous games the other night. When we've talked a lot about David Anderson, but those two were just brilliant, weren't they?
They did an all-round games too, and they play together. They're about the same size, so they switch a lot on defence and gives them a big advantage. But Brian Goorjian made a great adjustment before. The team's in the bonus, so they've gone to a little zone press, trying to make the Kiwis shoot from outside and protect them getting to the free throw line.
Paulie Hanari is the ball handler now for the Tall Blacks, and that's Mills out on him. Cameron goes low to Bradshaw and works on Saville. Had too much size for Saville on that occasion, as they were forced to switch up on defence, and Anderson not able to take over on Bradshaw. Now Saville. See if they can get Newley going in this game, but right now we're watching Patrick Mills. Mills gets the screen from Anderson, return pass to him on the roll, and off the hands of Bradshaw, so that'll be a Boomers ball again. Here's Bradshaw, just too big there for Saville. Now, Boomers will have the ball from underneath the basket. Let's see what sort of an out-of-bounds play they've got to run here. They pop to McKinnon. An offensive foul is called. The referee, Andy Thackeray, didn't like David Anderson's pick on that one. Saw Saville get, McKinnon get free fairly easily, but the referee said they did it illegally.
A little bit different in Europe. You're allowed to move your feet a little bit and play a little bit more physical than you can here in Australia.
Hanari up into the hands of Penny. Quick shift across the floor to Pero Cameron, and he knocks down the three, reduces that margin to 3. And the big captain, when he's called upon, he knows what to do with it. Brad Newley, are we going to see him get off tonight? A little quiet on Monday night, but goes to Sam McKinnon. Little left with the 3 that time, not able to measure it correctly. Phil Jones with Worthington in the game for Australia and got a bump. Little chest to chest there, and the foul will go against Mark Worthington.
And that's where the Australians really have to make an adjustment. You can't put the same sort of ball pressure on as you see Mark Worthington really trying to get up and into Phil Jones when they're in the bonus. Any foul now, they'll shoot free throws.
And on the other end, in terms of the Tall Blacks, they're still being aggressive offensively, Shane. They're still taking the ball hard to the hoop. And that's the key for them, I think. You know, try and get the Australians into some foul trouble, but they've got to make free throws.
It's unbelievable. I mean, people like Phil Jones, who will just stand up there and knock down 10 straight, just can't make his first one. It's happened to plenty of his teammates too. In fact, misses both, and it'd go a long way to see him do that again. Newley, Worthington was the cutter, and Anderson is high with the screen. Pat Mills for 3, and just rimmed out. It was a good looking shot, but wasn't able to just get the finish. Phil Jones again. Casey Frank in the game. Sam McKinnon on him. The 2 4-men. Hanari, Worthington staying with him. Penny, Hanari with an open 3 this time, a little long with it, and Brad Newley it is with the rebound. He's pushing the ball up the floor, and Sorry caught the napping, and just did everything right bar the shot. And Mark Worthington caught out of position there, another foul, and this is going to put Casey Frank at the line.
Once again, though, it's the aggression of the Tall Blacks. Getting the rebound, pushing the ball, trying to get something happening down the other end. And if they don't score a basket, at least they're getting the Australians into some foul trouble.
This is the big difference here. Australia 7 fouls in the first quarter against New Zealand 3. But they're 2 of 6 off the free throw line, the Tall Blacks.
I don't like talking about plays that happened a couple of plays ago, but this brings a smile to your face when you see Paddy Mills catch that ball with confidence and get up there. His jump shot's so pretty. It went in and out. Would have brought the house down had he made that 3.
Casey Frank, who played down in Wollongong, and he's on the move as well, Shane.
He certainly is. He's going to be a big addition to the Gold Coast Blaze this year.
And they got an extra bonus shot there from Pero Cameron, wasn't able to finish it off, and a travel call against Casey Frank. They just bring it all undone there.
A lot of players do this, don't they? They get a positive thing like an offensive rebound, and Casey Frank got 2 right there and then turned it over. Just kick it out.
2 from 8 on the free throw line, the Tall Blacks. That might come back to bite them. With a foul, and it's gone against Paul Hanari. And it's brought some bemused looks from a couple of Tall Blacks. Hanari and Penny looked up at referee Vaughan Mabry. And we've got a substitution taking place as Dylan Boucher coming back in, and Kirk Penny's going to sit. It's the Australian coaching staff, but prowling the sidelines there. Brad Newley, almost an open shot for him. There are plenty of 3-point shooters out on the floor. Ready for this man Anderson. Just can't make the turnaround jump shot that time. As the clock was winding down, it was good defensive passage there from the Tall Blacks. Dylan Boucher handling the ball probably more than he really wants to, but Casey Frank showed the screen and wasn't able to finish it off. Oh, gee, there was a ball there to be grabbed. And finally, they thought they'd turned it over, but it will be a Tall Blacks ball.
They don't have a great scoring team on the court at the moment. As you see, Pero Cameron, quick hands here and great pass. I don't know what's happened to Casey Frank's hands tonight.
Oh, easy one there for Phil Jones. They ran that very well. If you have a look at that for an out-of-bounds play and diagram that one. Did it very, very nicely. So, 1 point lead now for the Boomers. That lead that was 6 has been seriously eroded. Russell Hinder in there for the Boomers. Nothing for Patrick Mills. And that's, oh, we thought about it off Hinder, but it's been called off Cameron. So Australia will get the ball back. 7 seconds left on the shot clock when they bring it back in. Coming down towards the end of the first quarter here in Game 2 of the Resi Mortgage Series. Best of 3, Australia winning the first game. Third one in Brisbane on Friday night, and a big 3 there. It came from Mark Worthington, who can play inside out.
Well, you could probably diagram that out-of-bounds play as well, Phil, because that was well executed.
Frank with a handoff. There's been a whistle on the play early, and Paul Hanari is going to step to the line and shoot a pair.
Australia number 5,
Patrick Mills called for his first foul. Now, we don't want to overstate this free throw position here, but it is 2 from 8, I'd remind you.
And he's not a great shooter at the best of times.
Very much a veteran guard these days on the Tall Blacks team. He's been with them a long time, as opposed to this young man who's just come into the senior level of the game. He's had a tremendous junior career, junior player of the year 2 years ago. And nothing off the free throw line for Paul Hanari, but there was for Casey Frank, who picked up the scraps. And a foul again. This time it's going to go against Phil Jones.
That's just a brain explosion. How you can do that with 50 seconds to go in the quarter when you know your team's in the bonus just gives Paddy Mills an opportunity for some cheap points.
He just hasn't got used to that new haircut yet, Phil Jones. If you're talking about brain explosions, just hasn't kept the brain as cool as it used to. He used to have a nice covering on it. He got a haircut the other night and apparently didn't like his haircut and decided, well, if that's the way the haircut's going to be, I might as well get it all off. Patrick Mills gets one to wobble in for him. That's a good shooter, Shane, when you get that sort of touch.
I'm sure he was talking to it too.
Patrick Mills, who came out of Canberra from the Shadows Basketball Club, a club that was started by his mother and father, who are here tonight, and how proud they must be. But right now we're watching with 50 seconds to go in the first quarter. The Boomers putting down court pressure on the Tall Blacks. They don't want to give them an easy 2 here, and the referee's just watching a little battle going on here between Phil Jones and Brad Newley. This is Jones with the ball now. Brad Newley want to keep his hands out. He doesn't want to put Jones at the free throw line because both teams well into the bonus right here. Been a lot of free throws shot in this first quarter. Good hands there that came from Brad Newley. Newley's got a path to the basket and makes it.
Just
Brad
quick
Newley
hands.
for 2.
Quick hands by Patrick Mills. Got that basket. Just clean strip on Paul Hanari.
So, 17 seconds left on the shot clock. 20 seconds left on the game clock. 3 seconds differential. The Boomers will get the ball back. Maybe not too much time, but a 3-point shot from Craig Bradshaw. And it will be a Boomers ball. They got plenty of time to score it. Patrick Mills, he doesn't need a lot of time. He couldn't get it to go, but he will go to the free throw line on a foul. And I think it's against Paul Hanari again. Here's Hanari with the ball at this end. The hands there, and I think it was either Mills or Newley got a piece of that, but Newley it was who finished it off.
Yeah, good hands, and then he's an athlete to be able to finish. And you see right there, Patrick Mills, good enough to be able to change his position because it would have been an offensive foul for sure.
Well, now the Tall Blacks will get use of the ball after this. There's still 4 seconds left. But Mills will try and put a further gap in this score. I mentioned from the Shadows Basketball Club, started by his mother and father, an all-Aboriginal club in Canberra. Father a Torres Strait Islander, and Patrick's mother Yvonne, who's a ball player herself, is a Aborigine. Benny, the dad, went to the Institute of Sport. nephew of Danny Morsu. So can the Tall Blacks make a finish to this first quarter here? Boucher with a runner and couldn't beat the shot at the clock. So it's an 8-point lead to the Boomers at the end of quarter one, and a very good start to the Boomers.
Māori television.
E te iwi kei mua te kapa Boomers, rua te kau Māori makirunga ki te kapa Tall Blacks te kauma whetsu e Tania. O whakaro mo te wehenga tuatahi, your thoughts on the first quarter?
Well, I think the Australians have come out and stepped up the pressure a little bit more, and they're attacking on offence. The Kiwis need to put more pressure on the transition D and, you know, in the half court, and definitely need to make their free throws.
Yeah, definitely. Nō reira e te wiki a hoki atu anō ki poe hākena ki reira. Tatari mai ana e te hiu ngā tuatanga o te Aoriki, Bronson, Harrison, Benji, Marshall, Paul Fatuira. Kei reira e tautoko ana i te kapa Tall Blacks.
The Australia Post Boomers 25, the New Zealand Dominion Finance Tall Blacks 17, in a game that the Tall Blacks have to win to keep this series alive. Glenn Saville made a tremendous start to the game. He's been a real fire in the belly of this team. Darnell Mee, who started off at point guard, it looks like both teams are coming back to their starting fives. Jason Smith's on there, who got those couple of early fouls. Mark Dickel's back for the Tall Blacks. That's him with the basketball right now. A resumed battle. One battle over, 1 quarter long it lasted, but that one meant to the Boomers, but it doesn't mean anything in the final wash-up if you don't have your nose in front at full time. McKinnon taking on Bradshaw, using his quicks. This man can use his quicks too, Glenn Saville. To Anderson. 7 seconds left on the shot clock. They go to Anderson again, who takes that shot, and it's a little long. Easy rebound for Phil Jones under absolutely no pressure at all. And that will be a foul against Darnell Mee.
Well, I'm amazed, just like in game one, at some of the combinations that New Zealand are going with. The last 3 minutes of that quarter, as we see Dickel get fouled by Darnell Mee there, they had 3 guys on the court that couldn't score, and they didn't do it for 3 minutes. They scored 2 points, which was an offensive rebound.
And I was going on and on about it in game one. Now they've got 2 shooters on the court with Phil Jones and Kirk Penny.
And this man can score as well. Pero Cameron backing in there against Glenn Saville and shoots the little baby hook up there. A little jump hook from Pero Cameron. He's got all those shots. He is a great player back to the basket.
Well, if there's a criticism of Pero Cameron, it's the fact that he doesn't go inside enough, Phil.
He can certainly use that big body. Jason Smith with an open look at 3, but he shot that a little wide, but it fell easily for Sam McKinnon. They go to Anderson again, back to the well, which has been so good for them. Sam McKinnon, that's easy with him.
And that's the area in his game that has really come on in the last couple of years. MVP of the league last year, Sam McKinnon, in a very dominant team.
Yes, the Brisbane Bullets, who did it all last year, and Sam be back there again in 2007, 2008. And another foul. The foul goes this time against David Anderson.
Well, you have to put a lot of pressure on Pero Cameron up in the high post or up and around that 3-point area, because as we saw in game one, he has the ability to find players easily.
Now Jones goes into Cameron. He's got McKinnon behind him. The elbow went up to McKinnon's face, and we've got a foul, but gee whiz, there's a couple of things that referee Brazauskas could have called there. He could have gone either way. Pero just, which the elbow come up.
That's a good call by the referee. As soon as Pero Cameron turns and faces the basket, you can no longer have a forearm in his chest.
That is a great battle there, the 2 4-men. As we come on the outside now to Phil Jones, and McKinnon has to go out and guard the 4. He can do that. And another whistle. So, well, hearing plenty of whistles here.
The key here, Phil, is the fact that the Boomers are really trying to put a lot of pressure on Pero Cameron not touching the ball. And the referees are saying, well, you need to get off him because it's just not on.
The foul count is now 2-1. 12-6. The Boomers with 12. The Tall Blacks with 6. crowd calling for a travel, but was just a little slip on a wet patch there and no advantage gained, so the referee did a good job in not making a call. But there's Pero Cameron backing it in again. Have you got a line to him, have you?
Well, at the end of the day, that's what I say. If there's a criticism of Big PC's game, it's the fact that he doesn't go down low enough in the game. And there is a turnover by the Boomers.
Well, the decision now is for Brian Goorjian and the Boomers, do you go and double Pero Cameron? Because there's a clear mismatch there. He scored twice inside.
And Sam McKinnon has generally handled it pretty well, but now he's got Glenn Saville to contend with this time, and they go inside and they help out on the baseline from Darnell Mee. That was a good adjustment from Darnell.
Great help, and Darnell's a fantastic defensive player here in the NBL, and you see Pero Cameron spin baseline. Darnell Mee reaches a little bit, but cuts him off at the base.
Now to Saville, Anderson. Shifted the ball to the other side into the hands of that man, Darnell Mee. Takes it off the free throw line and doesn't take a lot of shots, but Saville it is who cleans it up and knocks it down for 2 more.
He just manhandled Phil Jones on that offensive rebound.
I was surprised to see Darnell miss from where he did, but generally makes that one, but they cleaned it up very well. And then Saville with a steal. Stole it off Penny. Oh, great pass to Jason Smith. A real no-looker to the cutting Smith underneath.
Well, Glenn Saville's been fantastic, hasn't he? Not only tonight, but in game 1, playing consistent basketball.
Good catch from Craig Bradshaw and finished it off well, too. He had to really extend the gadget arms to drag that one in. 8-point break. The Boomers, who led by that margin at the end of the first quarter. Now McKinnon looking to take Bradshaw on. He's got the quicks if he can take him, but takes him on from outside and hits a 3.
That's a tough shot. He was isolated with the taller Bradshaw. You'd want to see him get to the basket, but he backed himself from 3. Good shot, Sam McKinnon.
Biggest lead of the ball game. It's 11 points to the Boomers right here. And now Dickel down the middle and helped out by McKinnon. Rebound to Anderson. He pushes it out of the backcourt and looks for someone to come with him. Smith it is. Darnell Mee had a look at the 3 and then dumps to Anderson. McKinnon in the corner, but they switch it to Saville. Now quick movement of the ball. Shot from Anderson. Plenty of ball movement there, but Anderson's shot couldn't finish it. Dickel now for the Tall Blacks. This is an important phase of the game for them. Down 11 points. They can't let it get out to more after they'd lost game 1 of the series, and they could see that Olympic dream absolutely slip away right here unless they get a hold on it.
Well, you see the fact that Phil Jones put the ball on the floor and was able to, even though it was only a 2, he put the ball on the floor, still aggressively looking for offense.
It's a dangerous time for New Zealand. You see that steal by Glenn Saville. He's got the ability to rebound, shoot the 3, steal, and you see a fantastic pass at the end of the break.
They've got some athletes out there. When you look at Jason Smith, Glenn Saville, Sam McKinnon, tremendous athletes. It's so quick. They've made some changes now. They've got Brad Newley in there and Mark Worthington. So McKinnon and Smith are out. Just a little slow getting the shot up there, David Anderson. Just couldn't get a clean catch on just straight away. Otherwise, he had a good path to the basket. Kirk Penny. Hesitation on the dribble there, and that just froze the defense.
That was lovely.
Class.
To see the defense freeze on that. Is he going to shoot it or not? And suddenly it was up before they knew it. And we've got a bumping foul there from Mark Dickel. That basket won't count. The whistle was well before that. Have a look at this. He just held it and just left the defense behind him, absolutely frozen behind him, and easy 2 for him. But he did all the hard work early.
It looked like an easy shot, but he shot it off his wrong foot. You can have a lot of touch when you're going towards the basket and be able to pop it off the board like that.
Now, Mills back in the game for Darnell Mee. Brad Newley caught in the air there and nowhere to go. Casey Frank held his ground underneath and drew the charge.
The offensive foul, Australia, number 8, Brad Newley.
So that's put Australia up to the limit with 4 team fouls. They're in foul trouble again, but not in all that much trouble on the scoreline.
Might be a tactic. Send New Zealand to the free throw line, because you know they're not going to make too many if history's anything to go on.
See, I wouldn't want to bank on that. New Zealand have hit 5 of 6 field goals this quarter, so no trouble in scoring from the floor. The free throws where their problems are. Here's a 3-point shot from Kirk Penny, and no trouble again.
Well, they've been able to bring back that 11-point lead just slightly now. It's only a 4-point lead to the Aussies.
Yes, it changed the game up very, very quickly. Now Mills. Hinder with the screen. Bump there from Boucher and got a second go at it. And that time he was called for the foul and hit Mark Worthington, but not in a situation.
Yeah, Dylan Boucher probably thought to himself, well, look, I didn't get called on the first one. Let me have a go at the second one.
Looks like he got a fair bit of ball on the second one too when you look at the replay, but might have been just a little bit stiff. But the referee said it was in the shooting motion. And then Vucinic has to have a look at Mark Worthington score off the free throw line, which he can't do.
It's contagious. If New Zealand are going to win this game, Kirk Penny has to have the mentality that he's going to go into the game shooting 20 shots. They have to run offenses for him. He has to be aggressive, and he misses, so be it. They don't have great scorers.
Hanari, who doesn't do a lot of the scoring, but he can score. His game is to control the ball at the backcourt. Casey Frank, who didn't do a lot of scoring in game one. They got it to Boucher, but have they turned it over? In fact, we're going to have a jump ball situation. Which way's the arrow? It belongs to the Boomers.
Yeah, you said that Casey Frank we didn't see a lot of him in game one. We saw a lot of him, but he wasn't doing anything. But once again, he threw that pass to Dylan Boucher. It was a hospital pass. He was never going to get it.
I mean, Casey Frank's got hands like Flipper tonight. He's got 5 thumbs.
Well, he's off the floor, and that brings Tony Rampton into the game. So Rampton and Cameron, who played a lot together in their very early days with this team. Newley, the pass, I thought was a bit ambitious there to Anderson, or to Hinder it was, but wasn't able to connect in the end. And Ari getting rid of Patrick Mills there, and Boucher down the middle. Shot there from Kirk Penny. Hinder, has he controlled this one? He has, and sets Patrick Mills away. Will he take Hanari on? No. What a finish.
But put that down to great vision by Patrick Mills. He saw exactly where his man was coming, straight down the gut.
That is stunning, and it gives the Boomers a 7-point break, but more than that, it really gives them a lift. Not that they really needed one at that stage. They were doing things pretty nicely. Now Hanari to the hoop, and he's fouled that time by Hinder, who couldn't get there on time, and Paul Hanari will go to the free throw line. Here's the excitement machine. Patrick Mills, have a look at the pass. Straight down the middle, and great vision to see Mark Worthington. He knows what to do when he gets in that position.
He really has been impressive, Patrick Mills. Every time you see him, you just sort of, you warm to him even more, and I think the Australian public are as well. I think he's going to be a fantastic ambassador for Australian basketball in the future.
Yeah, I don't know about the Australian public, but me here as a Kiwi, I love watching him.
You might claim him as a Kiwi.
Yeah, I love him.
Miss there, and they toss the ball out of bounds as Russell Hinder trying to save the ball there on the end line. Gives the ball back to the Tall Blacks. With 3 minutes out from half-time here in Game 2 of this 3-game series, the Resi Mortgage Series, that's going to decide which of these two teams represents Oceania zone at the Beijing Olympics. Australia with 1 game in their pocket already and leading in Game 2. Cameron to Penny. Looking for Penny the whole time, and why wouldn't you? He can score it, but Mills it is who brings it back for Australia. Saville, Worthington, thought about the long 3 and then thought against it, which is probably a pretty good decision in the end. See if the Boomers can get Newley going. He's on the left wing right now. Mills penetrates and gets it up and in. He just broke his man down, Shane. I love the way he does that.
He's just got quickness. You really have to step up, but then he's got the jump shot as well. So you have to respect all aspects of his game. He's got an ability to use this pick and roll because he's taking it to the basket, but he's also got great vision of being able to pass to the person who rolls out of it.
But he's also a kid that's not afraid to do that. I mean, he's so young and coming into this game for the first time. You'd think you'd be easing your way into the game, but not him.
And that's what you've got to love about him. He's got an aura of confidence, and you want your young guys to do that, and it's a pretty special quality because not a lot of 19-year-olds would be able to come and play with this sort of confidence.
And you know he's a really nice kid too.
I flew to Canberra and met with him and his mum and dad in December to try and sign him for the South Dragons. He's a good mate with Jumpin' Joe Ingles. He would have looked good in South Dragons colours, don't worry about that, but unfortunately he's decided to go to college. I had 2 or 3 goes at him.
You got staggers or you got head tap. Staggers or head tap, all right? The defense now, Mark, you play Penny, all right? You're on the perimeter. Stay up the floor here. Look at him down low. Got to play these minutes without fouling. Need good minutes here. Staggers, here we go.
Okay, Shane, all those games you played in this building with a Sydney Kings uniform. I'm playing for Brian Gorgon. Staggers and head tap. Tell us about it.
Well, different calls than what we had for the Sydney Kings and even what we had for the Boomers in 2004. But he's talking about not fouling on defence and then getting ball movement offence coming off staggered screens.
The Tall Blacks have got a job in front of them at the moment. And Pero Cameron, how often does that happen? When there's a lead that's got to be whittled down, Pero Cameron will do it for you. And he does it with a 3 this time.
And of course, the Tall Blacks gone into a zone here.
11 points to Pero Cameron to lead all scorers. Damien Ryan into the game in the first half and not able to make his first shot, but he's in there to shoot the ball and does it pretty well. Kirk Penny, and he does that very well. Kirk Penny, who's done it for the Miami Heat, the LA Clippers, and of course New Zealand. He'll be doing it for the Breakers in the new season of the NBL. And look and see how they go with this zone. That's what they've got Damien Ryan in there for, playing on the wing. Mills on the wing right now. Fires the 3 up but can't make it. So the zone has been good so far for the Tall Blacks. They might use a bit more of this. Kirk Penny comes back again. Can't make it. One way to break up the zone is to go at it before it gets set up. But that's what Mills is trying to do right now.
It was what Shane said before in terms of the Tall Blacks. You know, you want Kirk Penny shooting the ball as much as he can.
Oh, gee, David Anderson won't be happy with himself in not making that shot. He has a very, very open look. And he usually makes that shot. 40 seconds to go till half time. Been a good period here for the Tall Blacks. They can take the lead right here, and they do. The Tall Blacks in front by a point after they trailed by as many as 13 points. It's been a great period for the Tall Blacks here.
Well, I think that 2-3 zone that they went into, Phil, has really paid dividends for them. They're able to secure their own defensive boards.
Arsene Sam McKinnon, and the foul comes from Tony Rampton. It's going to put David Anderson to the free throw line. But that's the first time that the Boomers have shown really anything of offensive quality against this zone. They got the good cutter going, got the man inside. They found him in McKinnon, and the cutter along the baseline in Anderson. But it's the first time they've shown any sort of a key in the door to this particular defense.
Well, Coach Gorgon isn't going to take it easy at all on the Tall Blacks. He's got Saville back into the game. Just another guy that will be able to get into that zone defense that the Tall Blacks are putting on at the moment.
Well, David Anderson, who had 20 points in game 1. There's Glenn Saville. And he can score from the outside. And I guess against a zone like this, you want someone who can occupy them in the middle and someone to get on the wings and knock down the 3 when it becomes available. Anderson makes the 2 and goes and takes a seat. That brings Russell Hinder back in to finish off this last 20 seconds of the first half. But it's going to be the Tall Blacks with the last use of the basketball. Australia by 1. They'll want that psychological edge at half time. Cameron, who's done a tremendous job in the back end of this second quarter. And we've got a foul. Is it against Russell Hinder or Mark Worthington?
Mark Worthington.
That might be a tough one because he seemed to be there right in the right spot. He wasn't moving sideways. Have a look at it again. Well, gee, that's a tough one.
I don't know. I'm a bit biased, but I thought there was a foul. And that's critical. That's 3 fouls.
3 fouls on Mark Worthington. And hasn't this fellow, when they've really needed something, well, Mark Worthington, there he is with the 3, but Pero Cameron, he's had a tremendous finish to this half. The big New Zealand captain, the veteran, makes 2 off the free throw line where his teammates have been falling around him. Now 5 seconds left for the Boomers to score before the break. Damien Ryan shot up but not in. Saville with a piece of it. But the halftime hooter goes at the Sydney Entertainment Centre in game 2 of the Resi Mortgage Series and finished off so well this first half by the New Zealand Tall Blacks. And that man, Pero Cameron, who's really put a dent in it. Down by 13 points. He brought them right back. to lead by 1 at half-time. A tremendous fight back from the Tall Blacks. And this series is certainly very, very much alive. Shane.
E te iwi kātahira te kemu ko tēnei kei mua te kapa Tall Blacks whā te kaumārua ki runga ki te kapa Boomers. Ana kua hoki ora mai rātou ki roto i te whakataetae nei. Tania, what a fantastic quarter for the Tall Blacks.
Yeah, I'm excited because I was getting a bit scared there earlier on in that quarter, and they really scraped their way back.
Well, talking about key guys, I mean, where's the comeback? Obviously, Peter Cameron played a big part in that.
Yeah, he did, and, you know, scoring 13 points and also, you know, having a lot of touch to the ball. Bradshaw stepped up, Kirk Penny stepped up, but the big key there was probably, you know, the zone defence that they put on at the end that slowed down the Australians.
And it looks as though they really needed to come up with something because they were struggling on transition D.
Yeah, definitely on transition D because, you know, the Australians look quick out there and they were definitely attacking the Tall Blacks.
Just going back to Peter Cameron, it looks, you were saying to during the break, he's better when he's angry. He looks like an angry man out there, so that's good news for the Tall Blacks.
Yeah, well, I think I heard him swearing there, so I'm sure like he's all fired up, and rightly so. You know, he's a key to the success of the Tall Blacks.
It's a good indication as well about how well the Tall Blacks are playing, considering how poor their free throw percentage is. It's somewhere around 30%.
Yeah, well, free throws, you know, that might come back later in the game to haunt them. So hopefully they can make some free throws in the second half because that's a pretty poor percentage.
And just quickly with Paul Henare as well, fantastic contribution coming off the bench. Engari e te iwi kua tai te waka hoki atu tātou ki poe hākena, ke whakawhiti atu mo te wehenga tuarua ki Wanganui tēnei kemu.
Couple of minutes before half-time, and it was Pero Cameron who dug them out.
Well, Pero Cameron has the ability to carry the team on his back, whether it's scoring or whether it's rebounding or the little things. And a lot of the little things you don't actually see in the stat sheet.
Shane, 13-point lead to Australia. Boomers are looking pretty good, but you're not surprised that the Tall Blacks came back, I'm sure.
No, that lead evaporated very quickly, but when you've got the experience of Pero Cameron and Kirk Penny, you know, you can't take the foot off the pedal at all, and Australia certainly did that, but you expect that. They're a good team, and, you know, as I say, they've been to a couple of Olympics and World Championships. You know they're not going to die wondering.
Let's take a look at the half-time stats, and they might make some interesting reading. A couple of what I really want to look at. Firstly, the foul count. 15 fouls Australia, 9 to the Tall Blacks, but really the Tall Blacks didn't really make them pay because they missed so many off the free throw lines. Have a look at that. 4 of 13.
You can't win basketball games shooting 4 of 13. That's why they're called free throws. But the other stat that's really interesting there's only 5 turnovers compared to what they had the other night. It was probably 5 turnovers in the last couple of minutes.
Shane, it's a very different game tonight. You can see both coaches have made some adjustments in this game.
They certainly have, but one aspect I don't think Australia's made a great adjustment on is when they get up and they pressure, they get into the bonus early, they have to take a step back. Challenge New Zealand to be able to make it from outside. Don't put them to the free throw line. So odds would say they're actually going to get back and make a couple.
Well, Pero Cameron scored 13 points at half-time, but he got the bulk of those in the last couple of minutes to bring his team back. And let's see how he did it. Firstly, getting the ball on the inside to Bradshaw, but then also scoring himself.
But that's the little things that I said before that he can do. Here he backs down Glenn Saville. There's a nice little jump hook there. You know, that's the sort of things that Pero can do. And like I said, sometimes he's criticised for the lack of times that he goes inside on the game because, you know, in Europe he's quite used to playing from the outside.
You look at Pero Cameron and you say that's not a basketballer's body, but gee, it's effective, isn't it?
Oh, very much so, you know. And you've got to love someone like Peter Cameron.
But Kirk Penny, he certainly got a basketball body. I mean, you spoke to him right before they went into the dressing room, Shane. He looked like he's ready to play.
Yeah, he's somebody that I've seen play for a long period of time now. He's very poised. He's a veteran of a lot of games now in Europe and in the NBA. He spent a lot of time in college as well. He's got a pure shot, and he has the ability to be able to make other people better. But I want to see him coming off picks and being aggressive and having that mindset to take Australia out of their game.
Now, Jason Smith was a guy who started the game game very well. Started with a big dunk, of course, and then hit a three. He really led things from the start, didn't he?
Yeah, well, you see that. Jason's certainly capable of being able to do that. If he gets his feet set, he's got a beautiful shot. You just need guys to be able to penetrate, dish it out to him, and make sure he gets those open looks. He's not someone who's going to create too much off the dribble himself.
Yeah, Jason Smith's one of those guys that New Zealanders would love to hate, you would think, because he was the fellow that cost them the gold medal at the Commonwealth Games last year in Melbourne. But there's a young fellow who's going to play a lot of Commonwealth Games. He's going to play a lot of Olympic Games. He's come into this series and really taken it by the scruff of the neck. His name is Patrick Mills.
Yeah, we can't talk highly enough about him. He's got super jets. He's a great passer. He's able to shoot the ball. He hasn't shot the ball as well as what he can, but you just got to love his confidence. And you see his vision there, and he's poised to be able to pull it out. And you see him running the on-ball screen. Other times he's been able to dish to the bigs, but you see him finish with a left-hand floater, and he's just a class player.
Well, have a look at the scoreline there, and he leads the scorers along with David Anderson for Australia. But look at the other side, the team in front, Pero Cameron and Kirk Penny backing him up.
Yeah, that's what I like. A bit more balanced scoring. Sure, Pero Cameron scored 13, Kirk Penny's on 9, but Craig Bradshaw, he's been a factor tonight, hasn't he? He's been able to get 8 easy points. None of them have been hard for Craig Bradshaw. So that's a good sign for New Zealand.
Shane, how do you think this second half's going to pan out?
Well, it's going to be a tough one. Obviously, Australia has to really get the defensive pressure on, but without fouling. If they foul, they have to release it, and it lets the Kiwis get into the flow. But, you know, it depends what team the Kiwis play as well. They have long stints in a period where they just can't score.
Well, strap yourself in. I think we're in for a tremendous second half here at the Sydney Entertainment Centre. 1 point lead to the Kiwis, but anything could happen in the second half. Remember, they're playing for Olympic qualification.